Doesn't it just feel so unfair that the nicest people always have to deal with the most challenging circumstances, the most difficult family members, the most horrible childhood experiences, the greatest traumas? Isn't it interesting that that always happens that way? And what if there was a reason for that? Because there is. So the toxic family, the toxic environment, the narcissistic and sort of gaslighting, family environment, peers that you were born into, born around, there is a reason why that happened. And stay tuned so I can explain that to you. And I am going to give you a very powerful technique to find peace with your past. Because once we found peace within ourselves, life just gets so much better. And that is my passion. My passion is, and my life purpose, and my divine timing is to help people. Divine timing is the purpose of your soul, why your soul came here. I came here, and I understand this. I came here to this planet to help those who are ready to discover and expand and build upon and benefit from and maintain their own highest and greatest potential. To welcome to this video, my name is Adrian Nelson, and I am a life transformation guide. I help people to find their magic. Anybody who's ready to go to that next level, I work with a lot of spiritual people, spiritual healers, spiritual leaders. I work with a lot of people that just feel like they're sort of lost in life, they don't know which way to go. I also work with a lot of corporate people, especially, who wants to sort of merge from one way of doing and being to a more fulfilling and different way of doing and being. And what's beautiful about that, which I love so much, everybody benefits downwards, which is so beautiful. So welcome to this video. If it's your first time here, I'd like to welcome you. If you're coming back, welcome back. Thank you for your support. It means so much to me. My goal here is for a community that beautifully grows, where we all support each other in the most beautiful, wonderful, beneficial way, so that we can all untap our abundance and we can all have a beautiful experience of life. All right. So if you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and subscribe if it resonates with you. Like the video, share it with others, and I'd like to hear your thoughts and where in the world we are connecting from. So, your soul came to this planet with a purpose. You incarnated here as a soul, having a human being experience, as the universe expressing itself through human form. You came here for a purpose. And you will often notice that, or if you ever went for like a numerology reading or like an astrology reading, they always ask you for your exact time of birth and your place of birth. And there is a reason for that. Because they are trying to determine what your 0 point energy is. And your 0 point energy is sort of like the point that you came into this planet in that perfect alignment and balance with the purpose that you reincarnated here for. Stay with me. Okay? So, your soul came here with a purpose. And in Theta Healing, we call that purpose divine timing. Alright? So, whatever it is that you came here for. An example of that may be conceiving a child. If it was within your divine timing for that child to come through, that child is going to come through. Come what may. And it doesn't go against your free will. It's not something to be afraid of. Because on a higher level, you've already made this agreement. You've sort of said, I'm going to go there and this is why I'm going there. But then free will determines how you have that experience. Okay? So this conception of the child can be a really horrific experience, or it can be a beautiful experience, or it can be a sort of once-off experience and you don't see each other again. But the bottom line is it's going to happen. All right? Because you already agreed to it. And I think a lot of times when I speak to people about divine timing, they tend to get a little bit nervous about it. But you don't have to be nervous about it because your soul already knows the way. But the thing about earth living is that earth living it's very addictive actually. It's very fascinating and fantastic, and there's lots to do. And this is how I want you to think about it. Imagine that you are there in the all that is energy. No time, nothing to do, nothing to manifest, nothing to dream. Everything already just is. Everything is blissful and beautiful. That is really great. But I can bet my bottom dollar that very soon it's going to get very boring. Forever's a very long time. So your soul wants to experience and to grow and to expand, So we go into this beautiful experience where we forget who we are. But you also need something or someone to keep you on track. Now, my Theta healing instructor, Nianell's got a beautiful story that she got through meditation with us or through a vision. Is that imagine, and you can imagine this with me, if it's safe for you to close your eyes at the moment, you can do this. You close your eyes, take a nice deep breath. And as you release that breath, I want you to imagine that you are going to go to a far, far, far out planet, way over there, different galaxy, way over there. And you can only take one person with. So you take your absolute favorite person with. Now, this could also be a dog, for example, but preferably a person, your absolute favorite person in the whole wide world. You take this person with. This person is going to help you to sort of like have this experience that you'd like to have. But when you get to the other side, neither you nor the other person can remember who you are. You can't remember who you are. And all of a sudden, this person, who's your absolute favorite person in the whole of the galaxy and all of creation, who has come here to help you to make this growth and expansion, is now your least favorite person. They're doing all sorts of things that are triggering you, all sorts of things that are making you mad. But what are you also getting out of this? What are you getting out of it? Take a nice breath and open your eyes, and let's talk about that. So that's a beautiful, amazing technique that my Theta healing instructor Nianell shared with me. But when you think about it, in order to help each other, let's say you need to deal with forgiveness. Somebody needs to do something for you to be, forgiving towards, or to eventually get there. And that is typically going to be something that could range from mildly to really horribly, terribly horrific, depending on the level of soul growth that you'd like to do. Yes? Now I'm going to give you that technique at the end of the video, so just stay with me. But just for now, and let me know what you think about this. So, let's say you're dealing with forgiveness. Somebody needs to do something for you to forgive. But what do you also get out of that? You might become very determined to say that, I'm never going to let anything like this happen to me ever again. So you become very focused. You maybe build a very strong, secure life, or you maybe a lot of financial, abundance, or you build a strong home, or you get a solid job where you can be independent, where, maybe you don't need anybody else again. Maybe whatever horrific event happened was as a direct result of you being sort of dependent on maybe someone else. Maybe you trusted someone and they let you down, and so you say, okay, I'm going to be determined, I'm going to be focused, I'm going to be strong, I'm going to build a good life for myself, I'm going to put down some very powerful roots, I'm going to make some money. And when you look at it, all of those things are really good things. And even though this really horrific thing happened, subsequently you got a lot of good things out of it. Now, when we do Theta healing sessions, it's very important to go and look at what is that good that you get out of it, because the thing is, it's all great and powerful to make that very, amazing life-changing decision, but what is driving it? And if you've ever taken any of my courses, and there's some links for them in the description, you will hear me say quite often that it is the motivation behind the action that determines the outcome. So we want to go and find out what is your drive. And a lot of times this drive is actually genetic. You were born with it. You inherited it. The not so positive serving drive. All right. But let's just bring it back to your family. Let's just bring it back in. Let's just bring it back in. Reel it back in. There's some other videos in the Theta Healing playlist that you can take a look at. All right. To gain deeper and further understanding, because I discussed it in there. But for this video, the question here is, why did you choose this family? Because they would be the people that would help you grow. Now remember when I was speaking about 0 point energy. So you are born into a living organism being that is alive, that has got its own plan coming, it's got its own karma and growth and expansion and stuff like that going. And that is our galaxy, but particularly the sort of, let's call it the realm or the civilization that we are born into, which is earth living. You know, this beautiful dome. All right? This dome has got its own thing going on. You can think of it almost like a household that's already fully functional, fully operational. And then you move into this household. When is the best time for you to move? You know, so I may say, well, come at about 4, because, you know, when you come at 4, we've just done finished chores, we're going to take a shower, and so you can sort of settle in, and, you know, dinner's at 6 sort of thing. You can almost imagine coming to this planet in the same way. Now, people often have questions, you know, what if I was born via cesarean? It is measured by the moment you took your first breath. Because when you took your first breath, that is when you connected with the energy. And I want to let you know that regardless of how it may appear, nobody ever comes into this life off time, ever. You're never too early, you're never too late. You're always on time, exact time. You take that breath, you connect to the energy. And something quite powerful that I like to do in sessions, which is quite amazing, we have what we call our 3 eternal molecules, which is one in our spine, that's our kundalini, in our mind, in our head, in our third eye, pineal gland, and one in the heart. Okay? Power, wisdom, love is what my instructor calls it, which is quite appropriate. And when these are synchronized for you, almost like an infinity sign, it realigns you back to that 0 point energy where you can fulfill your divine timing without it being such a challenge. But I want you to know that you chose your family. You chose to come here. You chose your family. You chose your personality. You chose your race. You chose your body. You chose your gender. You chose your sexuality. You chose your life experiences to help you guide and navigate you to the experiences that your soul wanted and needed and required and expected to experience in this lifetime. Nothing is an accident. Nothing happens by chance, as in nada. All right? So this is what I wanted to share with you, and this is something that worked really, really well for me back in June 2024 when, you know, I was at such a loss in my life. I literally thought myself and my dog were going to end up living on the street. I was so despondent. My life just felt totally dystopian. And I remember I was standing on this open grass field in Cape Town, sort of like looking to the city on the one side and looking to Table Mountain on the other side, feeling so low. And I was looking down, and, you know, I had my dog on a leash, and he was sort of like hopping around, you know, as Jack Russells do, very happy. And I thought to myself, you know what? If my soul just, you know, came to this planet and I had the support, I can recognize how right now, when I'm in this stressful, this very low point in my life, how this other expression of soul, which is my dog, Bruno, would come in to just cheer me up a little bit. Because otherwise I will be totally, totally depressed and probably do something totally self-destructive, you know. But because I have this dog, I can't go and get too destructive. You know, I can't go and like drink myself into a stammer that I can hardly stand up because I have to take the doggy for walks. And that is how the whole soul support each other. Remember that we are fractals of light, of the one oversoul. We are the one consciousness, the one soul, the one being expressing itself in different ways. All right? Remember, there was the one Big Bang, the one expression of life, the one sort of like, you know, like the inception or the outer sort of, you know, expression of light, of love, light, energy. And that formed everything, our whole universe, and us within it. We are all one. We are all connected. There is no separation. You know, we don't complete the all doesn't complete us. We are the all, and the all is us. We are all the same thing. You know, it's quite beautiful. And we get this opportunity to express ourselves in different ways while we're on this planet. And because the soul by its very nature wants to expand, it has to deal with things in order to expand, like in any sort of setup. Things are going to pop up and we're going to have to deal with it. And we're going to need some help with it. And that is where our soul family comes in. So we are all soul family. All of us. We do have closer ties to with some of them, like more sort of, you could almost say like biological family, if you want to call it that, but in a soul sort of realm, with our own councils and 12 and those sort of things. But we are all one soul family on this planet because we are all an expression of the one soul. Okay? So we come here and we choose to support each other. And I know it's very easy to sometimes go in a space of like, oh, everybody's triggering me, but who are you triggering? Because you're also helping those people. You know what I mean? So here's a question that I asked myself on this open field, and this has changed everything for me so profoundly. And this is such a powerful thing to do, to apply a technique when you're feeling down and out. You ask yourself, let's just suppose, and even if you don't fully believe it, but let's just suppose I came to this planet, I chose to come to this planet, my soul knew the way that things are rocking right now, that's the rocking that's going to be taking place. It knew that I would have that family, it knew that I would have that situation, it knew that I have that circumstances. So if I knew this, why did I still choose to come here? Why did I still make the choice to come here? If I knew this, if I knew how things can be, if I knew I could suffer like this with my family, with my finances, with my health, with my relationship, with my career, with my boss, with my money, with this fucker and with that fucker. You know what I mean? Why did I still come here? What did the soul, the all consciousness know that I don't know right now? And then it's about opening yourself to that, being willing to know and understand. And literally, that's what I did. And this is how I got on this powerful path of Theta healing, because at this point I've been a hypnotherapist, and a really brilliant one at that, for about the last 6 years. Regression, hypnosis, very spiritual approach, death experience, past lives, beautiful stuff. But I was getting a little bored because these sessions were taking so long. And I started to look into rapid inductions, but that, it didn't really sit that well with me. I wanted more. Not to say that those are not good things. It just wasn't really a good match for me. I wanted more. I wanted deeper. I like to go to the core. How can I best help this person now? How can I best help them going forward? And that is when Theta healing came into my life, just like that. And it has changed my life so much. I mean, I don't really know exactly what today's date is. I think it's January the 12th, 2025. I know it's 2025. But in the space of literally 6 months, my whole life has changed when I was willing to ask that question, when I was willing to contemplate that question. And I remember Dr. Wayne Dyer was quite a big promoter of, having the willingness to contemplate a different outcome. What if my family was my blessing? What if my circumstances are my blessing? What if the situation is my blessing? What if your childhood was your blessing? How did those people serve you? What did they give you? What did they help you with? How do they motivate you? And when we look at it like that, it's very different. So in sessions, the only thing that I look at is, okay, how did you get there? What is the sort of negative motivation that sometimes make it feel like our achievements are unfulfilling and we're not worthy and deserving of love and beauty and money and health and that sort of thing? And let me tell you something for nothing. If you don't have all of those things, a lot of people that have those things, they've got a real struggle with guilt and things like that. Why do they have and others don't have? And that might be their soul lesson, But then it's just about change. It's not about taking any of the things away. No, it's all your stuff. You work hard for it. But changing the drive behind it's a motivation. So you actually end up having more. I always say to people, it's quite interesting. If you, if you have a session because you don't have money, you're going to end up having more money. Because you are investing in yourself, and it's real, deep, beautiful work. So what are the blessings of your toxic family? And also let me just quickly touch on this. A lot of times, we speak about being empaths, which is great, but the way that being an empath is actually activated is usually through trauma. And when we experience trauma at a young age, our system isn't fully developed, and everything goes a bit out of sync. Your whole nervous system, your brain, your whole central nervous system, it affects your immune system, your organ development, your confidence, your mindset, your neural pathways, the hormonal sort of cocktail that goes through your body. All right, it's all good and everything fine to be all spiritual, but remember, we're living here on an earth dynamic. Okay, you want to be very aware of that. The better you do in your actual life is the better you can do in your spiritual life. Because when you are all balanced, spirit can just flow through you. Okay? So, when at a very young age we are triggered with trauma, we remain hypervigilant all the time. And our fight and flight response goes out of sync, and, sort of like all our hormones and our dopamine and all of those sort of things. But all of those things can be rebalanced. We just recalibrate the story inside, you know? But a lot of times the reason why being an empath is activated, and I know a lot of people that have trouble with their family, being toxic, a lot of times they are empaths, is because at a young age you were traumatized, so you had to remain hypervigilant all the time. You're probably having trouble with sleep, because your brain doesn't know how to function with things. You don't want to sleep too long because what if something goes wrong? You're always on guard. And because you also don't get proper sleep, your hormone cycle remains out of balance. Your melatonin levels, which sort of like determines your sleep, which is also bound to the pineal gland, that is out of balance. And so your life is out of balance. So it's more about rebalancing. So do yourself a favor and say, again, what did you get from these people? And practice the journey of forgiveness. I release you. I set you free. I set myself free. Okay? And if you feel that you need some deeper work with that, then you can always book a session with me. My details are down below in the description. I work in person, I work online. Check out my courses, descriptions. Everything I do is really focused on helping you to do better in life. So check it out. I'm very open and excited to hear your opinion from my heart. Namaste. Love and light. See you next time. Remember to subscribe.